Hey, Podnutzians. Welcome to Mini PC Show. Big talk, little machines. My name is Door to Door Geek. Rich is under the weather today. Ate some bad salsa. It happens to the best of us, folks. And Brian is away doing work, I hope, and it's just family related, and that's it. Um, this is going to probably be just a little bit of a shorter show because it is just me, but this is a show that we have not done for about a month, so I felt like I had to do something. It is the first week of January, so why not? Let's talk about uh 2019, 2020. What happened in 2019 worth mentioning that caught our eyes that we remember, and what we predict could happen in 2020, or what we know is going to happen in 2020. Um, I'll say a little caveat like CES just started here uh the Wednesday the 8th of January. If you would like to partake in this show live, all you got to do is just go to Twitter or YouTube, follow me, and you'll be notified when we go live, or just hang out on our Discord server, link in the notes, or in our Mattermost server. You got to email me for access for that, and I try to post it there when we go live. And then you two can partake in this event, is what I'll say. I'll say this: in 2019, there was a lot of things that happened, but I'll also say I believe most of it we were able to predict. I don't want to say with ease, but most of it was a pretty consistent, gradual increase in quality of computing through 2019. There was no huge leaps in technology. I will say the idea of neural computings or TPUs or tensor flows um, is a pretty new thing, and it's taken off a little bit quicker than I thought. Um, but we had the Raspberry Pi 4 come out. Once again, the company is packed with people like with the IQ of 35 after the Raspberry Pi 3. To not call it the Raspberry Pi 3.14 just shows an unbelievable incompetency and under an unbelievable like no sense of humor, no sense of playfulness. That's what used to make hackers hackers back in the day, with a sense of playfulness. They have no sense of playfulness, and they started to become unbelievably corporatized with stores and they said very clearly with the goal of being profit. Um, so I think we're starting to see the beginning of the end of the glorious uh, royalty dynasty of the Raspberry Pi. With that stated, it's still going to take 2 or 3 years at least for all the hype to die down and for the communities to uh, rearrange themselves and find, I think, a more suitable home. But it will be, again, really powerful for a while. They made really weird selections with this Raspberry Pi 4. They finally took the NIC and the USB off of the same bus, which would cut both of them their speeds down greatly on the previous versions. So they're on separate buses. This one finally has a true gigabit NIC, which is 2 years too late in my opinion, but they finally did it. It does have USB 3. I believe it's 3.0, not 3.1 or 3.2, which is fine for most people's use cases. A lot of people's use cases. They went with Type USB for power, another smart move, but it's a non-standard thing they did. I think they did that just to save money. Once again, I think profit is their major thing here. And then they gave it 2 micro, I believe it is, not mini, micro HDMI ports on it, which is just unbelievably, uncannily dumb. You instantly jack the price up of the unit because maybe 5% of the people buying this already have those wires sitting at home. So you instantly made the barrier of entry higher when they did that. I think they're going to continue to make stupid decisions moving forward, just like they did with this model. With that stated, this is by far the best performing Raspberry Pi I ever had. I have the 4 gig version. I have the Seed Studio Ice Tower cooler on top of mine, and it's running my graphical desktop quite smooth. Micro, thank you, Rich. I always say mini. So I'll say this, anybody who says that this is not a desktop-like experience, one of two things. One, you live in the glory of a first world where you have a $2,000 to $3,000 laptop with, brand new i7 or i9 with 32 gigs of RAM with all these fancy bells and whistles, or um, you just, have extremely high expectations from like work computers. Me, on the other hand, most of my computers that I use on a daily basis are 5 to 7 years old, is what I'll say. Um, the only newer computers I have is a i7 laptop that was a gift from a viewer, which I can't thank him enough, which I use as my main streaming rig, but I also insist on it lasting a very long time, so I don't bang it around. I don't, push it too hard. I want it to be really rock solid and stable, and it runs beautiful butterfast. But my main traveling rig right now is a 7-year-old Lenovo 430 T430, maybe it might be a 420. I think it's a 430. And then I have like my o-droid H2 um, computers. I mean, they're old. They're old computers. So the Raspberry Pi 4 with 4 gigs of RAM is remarkably desktop-like for me, comparing it to my normal computer usage. Um, if you have a brand new Microsoft Surface or a brand new HP Spectre or something like that, oh yeah, the Raspberry Pi 4 is not going to be desktop like, but you live in a different world. You live with different standards. To me, this is uncannily desktop like. It isn't like a desktop; it's desktop like. The other single board computer things that happened in 2019, I will say, is the Jetson Nano. Probably came out like a Rowdy Piper and They Live. He came in to chew bubblegum and kick butt, and he's all out of bubblegum. The Jetson Nano is a beast for $99. Um, this same type of form factor and power 3 years ago, 2 years ago, would have been probably $300 to $400. So it is really, I'll say this, spectacularly impressive. I do not have one, but I could see that doing a lot of tasks that most people would right now rely on for full desktop type computers. Um, the other single board computer stuff I have to mention is the o-droid H2, which to me revolutionized the idea of modular, small form factor computers that are x86, not ARM. I think they did a really, really good job with that. Um, the other computers I think that really need to be mentioned is what I'll say is the Rock 64 and the Rock Pro 64. I think they are two extremely undervalued computers in the realm of mini computers. The one has a PCI, I believe it's a 4X slot on it, to gives you a lot of good expandability. Um, oh, and I forgot to mention the o-droid H2 has a NVMe slot on it, which I think is beautiful for 2019. Um, the Rock Pro does have eMMC on it, 4 gigs of RAM, RK3399 processor. I have that running as my next cloud server. Everything runs nearly perfect on that device, is what I will say. And it was about the same price. I want to say it was $35 for the lower end, $58 for the higher end. One of the best bang for the buck values. The only downside to me about that board is it has a barrel connector. It isn't the end of the world. I just now have to borrow my wife's label maker whenever I buy a mini computer with a barrel jack on it, and I have to label the actual wall wart plug, or I never know which one is which. In other mini PC news, I will say, o-droid has made significant ongoing progress. They've done really well. The gimmicks with most o-droids is they really focus heavily on processor and the GPU, and they do not focus on Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, or wireless connectivity really at all. So whenever you buy an o-droid, you're going to have to buy dongles for Bluetooth or for Wi-Fi. Now that's a double-edged sword. The bad side is it costs you now more money to get what you might consider basic functionality. But on the good side now, you are assured that whatever you buy, if you do your proper research, will run extremely well on your operating system. And with a simple USB cable, you can then extend the range of it. You can literally put a 25-foot USB cable on it and put the Wi-Fi dongle wherever you want or Bluetooth dongle wherever you want, thus extending the range of your device. O-droids to me are very fairly priced computers, all of them. Some of them are just a touch expensive, but I will say this. Um, Half of the user experience with mini computers is the hardware and the specs, the polish, the cases. Oh yeah, another huge failing with the Raspberry Pi 4, no buttons. This is 2020, people. Maybe we can get some buttons. I don't know. I'm not going to put my money on it. Most O-droids have buttons. Okay, that's another nicety of it. The cases for them are really nice too. Um, and I was going to say this: unbelievably, one of the most rock solid devices, greatest computing use cases for heavier servers, or if you want to use them for like HTPCs, home theater PCs, running either front ends with Plex, Android, Netflix, uh, um, um, uh, Kodi, or back end with Plex or Samba servers and stuff like that. And I'll say I love the fact that the O-droids have had gig NICs for now. I want to say 2.5 or maybe 3 years. Hey Red, thanks for coming out to the chat. Um, and I'll say the real to me winner in mini computers. Now, and we have had other companies come out. Lenovo announced a single board computer. The Asus Tinkerboard, I have no problem saying I'm not going to eat crow. I'm not, but I have no problem admitting I was not right. They've done remarkably well in supporting with upkeep with their board. I still ain't buying one because it's way overpriced for what it is, but I like seeing these major manufacturers get into this game. A rising water raises all ships. That's competition. That's what competition does in any world, in any ecosystem, in any economy, any environment. Competition is great for everybody. Maybe not the businesses. Don't care about the businesses. I care about the users and the user experiences. So hardware is only one side of it, and O-droid does a really great job of that. Maybe they do better at the operating systems on it. Where you download the o-droid operating systems from the o-droid websites, I have seen nothing but insane stability out of them and some of the best honed drivers for performance. Now you can get Armbian, you can get Diet Pie, you can get a whole bunch of other distros that will run just fine, great, run really respectable. But those o-droid native operating systems run magnifique is the word that I use. But if you know me and if you know this show, the winner by far in at the end of 2019, beginning of 2020, whereas you look at them in the beginning of 2019 and then the end of 2019, to me, it's amount of momentum you've done for yourself. And to me, the Raspberry Pi did a pitiful amount of momentum. Yes, they probably did gain some momentum, but not a lot. Those stores are not doing a lot of momentum. Don't let anybody fool you. They're not. Even if they do, $20,000 each a month in sales, momentumly speaking, they're not moving the goalpost a lot. O-droid, they've done some good goalpost moving with some of their hardware. They've pushed the limits. They've done really niche things. But the winner by far, I think, has to be Pine 64 because the buzz. It's hard to reproduce hype. It's hard to reproduce news cycles. It's hard to, buy your way onto things, unless you're like a former New York mayor or something. I don't know. But Pine 64 might have beat everybody in the simple game of community building and honest, like, community building. Because like you have people like Purism offering a $2,000 phone. They're the Apple computers of mini computers where they're offering a Linux phone, but it's $2,000. Does who do they know Linux people? Linux people aren't the kind of people who walk around throwing money everywhere they go. Linux people tend to be a little bit more frugal, not cheap, different, frugal in their spending, but when they find something they like, they will spend money. I don't know about a $2,000 phone. I don't know who in their right mind would spend $2,000 on any phone. And then you have Pine 64, who are obviously not in this to become billion-dollar companies in a year or two. maybe they're playing the long game and they want to be rich in 10 years or whatever, but initially they're not raking the people over the coals for money. They had the original Pine 64 computer, which was a bigger form factor than a Raspberry Pi. Quite a solid device, I'll say. I love the fact that it had a daughter board. You could put the daughter board on, and you got Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, and the thing just worked really good. Um, it, yeah, I always have boards close at hand, is what I'll say. And this was the original Pine board. You know, it's the original because how it basically looks like unfinished on the back. That's how like quick this was pushed out the door. But it was a really solid mini computer that just worked really well. I want to say this, they had the low end with like 512 uh, megs of RAM, and this was the 2 gig version, which was at that point in time the high end version of the device. And I'll say I really did enjoy this device a lot. It didn't get a lot of software updates, and I seriously thought they were going to be a one shot and done. This was their one trick, and then they were going to be out of the business. And happily, I was wrong. Um, I will say maybe they've thrown too many things at the wall over the last 2 or 3 years, but I think they've done unbelievably well this year. Okay, you first have the Rock 64 computers, Rock Pro 64 computers. Then you have the Pine Book that came out, I want to say the very beginning of last year. I could be, no, it's actually a little more than a year ago. Um, a fine laptop for the price. I wish the speakers were better, little pedally things like that. But then they announced um, they were doing basically a 3 pack of devices. Actually, there's a couple more, but the 3 that we're going to focus on is the phone, the Pine phone, which $150 they're not making money off of. The Pine tablet, a fully functional Linux tablet for I want to say $100, and then the Pine Time, a a Linux watch for $25. Um, they're hitting that trifecta there. Now, there's also like a mini camera and a couple other things, which I'm sure are going to do fine. But those 3 things alone are so cheap and affordable. Linux nerds who are frugal could literally buy 2 of each and still not spend as much as somebody does on their phone. And they could literally have one that's just a hackery, play around, develop little things on, and with how easy it's become to share what you do, how easy it is to host a little droplet or have your own little website on WordPress or whatever, Squarespace, or just upload it to Google Drive or to OneDrive or to Dropbox or to Pastebin or to whatever website and just share what you're doing. I really do expect the software on those 3 platforms to not be crazy polished, but to make lots of progress in a year to a year and a half, maybe 2 years. Um, so I expect by the end of 2020, um, a lot more people are going to be aware of Pine 64. A lot more people are going to own Pine computing devices. And I will say, again, thanks to Captain Zero, I have ordered the Pine Book Pro. I haven't heard anything about it yet, isn't shipped yet, but I am ridiculously giddy to just carry that thing around as my daily driver, see what kind of battery life I do, and see what kind of experiences I can get out of the device. They have released a couple videos, the official Pine company, on um this is the Pine phone running, and this is the Pine Book Pro running, and I like the fact that the latest video, the latest 2 videos for the Pine phone were edited and produced on a Pine Book Pro. Okay, now we're gonna harken back to around January, might have been as late as March. Linus Torvald screamed at the top of his lungs in text, because that's what he does. You people are so stupid. ARM is losing everywhere. ARM is losing everything because x86 is destroying it in the server market, because when you develop code, you're developing it on x86 and you're pushing it to x86 devices. You can't expect someone to develop on x86 and push to ARM servers. So that's why ARM servers will never be successful. I think he said that purposely trying to push people to see what they could come out with, kind of thing. At CES today or yesterday, they unveiled, I want to say it was a Samsung laptop, might have been a Lenovo laptop, with a brand new ARM processor in it, laptop running a full operating system laptop, not running, like Android or something, but running a full operating system. And they said 24 hours battery life. I can tell you at work, I have the latest Gen i7 mobile processor, 16 gig of RAM, HP Ultrabook. Basically, it's a elite book, and I get easily 7-8 hours of battery life doing really intensive things on it. Is what I'll say, because I beat up my computers. So the idea of having a 24-hour battery in a computer, whereas most importantly, battery technology has not increased. Everything else has increased. The processors have gotten more efficient, less heat. The code has gotten more efficient, and then things have just gotten tighter in the designing of the hardware. The batteries have had ultra minimal improvements. So to have a laptop with 24 hours battery life, that is dang near sexy. Okay. The other things that have really happened in 2019, I'll say, is you have Intel making good amount of inroads. You know what I mean? Intel's keeping themselves in the game. I do believe with the dedicated Intel graphics card, they're going to try to make more progress with the Intel NUC. They have the Intel NUC Canyon edition that was released. That is like a gaming mini computer. Um, just like explaining computers, guy said, the idea of having ultra small form factor, full desktop computers, it's happening. He said somewhere in the 2020s. Oh, it's happening in 2020. Let me assure you of this. Before this time in 2021, we are going to have true microcomputers that are easily mountable on the Visa mount on the back of your computer, that are going to be full-fledged gaming computers. The other thing that happened at CES is um was it Asus? I want to say it was Asus released a gaming handheld device that looks s- almost exactly like a Nintendo Switch, but it's a computer running Windows 10. With the advent of Stadia gaming, that kind of form factor handheld mobile computing is going to be even more popular come 2020. And I don't want to say it's the future of gamings, but it is a future of gaming. Um, Android and iOS are right now destroying when it comes financially to games. Consoles are not winning right now. They're doing fine. The Nintendo Switch is doing fine. But if you want pure profit, you have a device like you have your game on Android and iOS, and micropayment held people to death. Um, but if you can have a mobile gaming experience that's not, $3,000, and you can compete with platforms and games that are being available on like Steam, I think that could be a really big like game changer for everyone. Um, Especially if the controls are tight and the handheld will last for more than like 2 or 3 hours. So in 2020, again, we're going to see an insane amount of cube satellites. Okay. This year alone, I want to say in the last 90 days, I think it was what I read, we had almost 10,000 CubeSats go up. Every time one of those cube satellites go up, that means the price of our single board mini computers goes down. That means all the dies that make all the pieces are getting better, tighter, more efficient, more economical, and we, the end consumer, are the beneficiary of those kinds of things. 2020, we're going to see insane amounts of more mini computers. Everything from stupid toilet paper delivery bots at CES to CubeSats to more mini computers inside of cars. Expect there to be more like watches. I do predict 2020 is going to be almost the death of tablets. Right now, it's really only Samsung, Apple, and Amazon with any actual success with tablets. I do expect the Chrome OS tablet to have some success, but I think by the end of 2020, we're going to be seeing the end of tablets coming sooner versus later. Um, I will also say that I expect the power. Okay, this was something else that they said in explaining computers. And if you don't know who I'm talking about when I say explaining computers, just go to YouTube. Don't go to the website. God, it looks horrible. Go to YouTube, explaining computers, and you'll see a guy who looks like he's straight out of a Monkeys television show in 1967 with his haircut, but he actually knows computers quite well. Um, he predicted by the end of 2020, the 2020s, by like 2029, we're going to be talking in computer terms instead of how we talk about RAM and processor speed and screen size and battery life. One of the key things we're going to be talking about is like TPUs uh, or like the nano processing unit, whatever we're going to end up calling it. By the end of 2029. I'm going to say he's absolutely right, but he's absolutely wrong yet again. Before the end of 2021, that's going to be a very normal vernacular thing. But I'll also say we as consumers have laptops that are 3 to 20 times more powerful than we need them. Now, when I say we, I don't mean you. I mean the average consumer does not need the processing power that they have. They do not need the RAM they have. They do not need the hard drive they have. They have way too much computer for what they need. Because of that, the actual numbers are becoming much less important to a huge swath of consumers. Okay. We're becoming Star Trek The Next Generation, where you have one guy wearing a magic visor who knows everything about the computer system, and then you have everybody else who's an idiot. Okay. The actual hard numbers are not important. They're not becoming important. People are not going to be talking about comparing processors by the end of 2029, and maybe not even by the end of 2020. They don't care about that. They don't care about those hard numbers. They just care, does it feel good? Does it look good? Does it run good? Okay. We who are in the know, I do believe tensor flow units or nano processing units or whatever we're going to end up calling them will become a very key thing to a slice of people in certain fields, machine learning type AI stuff. It's going to be utterly important. Um, for like edge computing, it's going to be the make or break thing because with edge computing, you need distributed clusters handing off work and having it be efficient. And with those kinds of units, it can make that kind of thing insanely better. Um, my prediction by the end of 2020 is edge computing is going to become more real. It's still not going to really be real. You'll know edge computing is becoming real when it's not called edge computing. When you just have a family of devices that you are with, where you share your processor and resources, like with your wife or with your kids or with your neighbor or with your community or with your church or whatever. And all those processors can work together to get jobs and tasks done. Um, it's definitely going to happen. I don't know what it's going to be called. I think we're going to start to see that happening by the end of 2020, and it's going to be because of mini microcomputers being ubiquitously everywhere. I will say, uh, I'm not on the 5G hype train because most of the people who talk about 5G really have no comprehension how computers even work. I will say this: when 5G becomes ubiquitous and everywhere, it is going to change a lot because it's going to have so little lag between devices. And anybody who says 5G is going to kill people, please stop watching whatever you're watching. Stop listening to whatever you're listening to and actually look at the research yourself and actually look at the actual technology behind it yourself. And you'll find the exact same spectrum of waves, of radio waves, have been in use by every major country for over 40 years. Um, they're perfectly safe. There's nothing to worry about. But when we have 5G stuff everywhere by every carrier, the lag time will be so sickeningly minimal. It's really hard to describe the kind of things that will be possible. Like right now, if you are on Voxer chat, you can literally have near real time conversations where I'm in outside of Baltimore, US, somebody else in that chat group can be in Dublin, Ireland. Somebody else can be in Tehran, Iran. Somebody else can be in Vietnam. Somebody else can be in Japan. And somebody else can be in Brazil, all in one chat log. And we can literally have a real time, it's so close to real time conversation with each other. It's almost insane how good it works. 5G will make the lag between those devices even less. Where everything can basically be done in real time everywhere else. And because of that, we're going to have a lot of things open up to us. It's going to take like another year or two after 5G is everywhere for all the applications to become more mature. The sad part is with information being sent with that little bit of lag, privacy is going to be even harder to protect and secure and have our own. What I hope is 2020 is the year many computing platforms take pride in their privacy stance in how they deal with personal data. I don't think it's going to happen. I think we're going to see groups like DuPuie just become insanely more successful as they become more feature rich, as they become more stable, and as things just work better with them. I love the fact that we have one operating system that we can literally tell 60 different people running 60 different single board computers what to use. Um, I don't know how Armbian is going to be doing by the end of 2020. I hope they still continue on with their type of support. I really do hope they continue to get better because they really do offer some of the best all around performance on single board computing. I have no problem saying that. Um, I do expect more like smart devices in your pocket to be even more popular. Like one of the good examples that I like is this SanDisk USB thumb drive. Okay, it basically just looks like a thumb drive. A little bit bigger than a thumb drive, maybe a little wider than a thumb drive, but it's a thumb drive. These go up to, I want to say, 256 gig versions of it, but it's not just a thumb drive. It's also a Wi-Fi access point. You can literally turn it on and have the content streamable. And I want to say the old version of this is which is one I have. I want to say it was 1080 stream video up to 4 devices at the same time. But it isn't just an access point. You can literally have this as a pass-through device as well. So I can turn it on, log into it, configure it to say access the internet using this other access point. I can then connect to this, stream from this, and have my device still connected to the internet. And this thing is like stupid dirty cheap. You can get the 32 gig version of this for I want to say less than $20, and it's an access point, and it has a built-in battery. Battery lasts for hours. Um, these kinds of pocket little form factor devices, technically, it's a mini computer, probably a single board computer. We just don't think of it like that. We think of it as um uh a appliance, and that's the real success with single board computers. Yes, we are going to have boards we buy, and when you open up the box and you look at it, you're going to see uh silicone, you're going to see pins, you're going to see heat sinks, you're going to see ports, you're going to see all this kind of devices. And we're going to have that because we're nerds. That's what nerds do. But we're going to have more and more devices and a um appliances that people buy. Um One of the types of form factors I do believe is going to actually be deliverable this year is people are going to start to come out with quality keyboards that literally have their own baked operating systems into them. We're on the where they're going to have their own little, basically a base station right behind it with just all the ports on it. The keyboard wirelessly connects to that and just sends all its data over. We're going to see the slimming of computers. I really would like to say, I hope this is the year that Chrome boxes take off. I don't know why they haven't taken off whatsoever, but they haven't taken off at all. A lot of the Chrome boxes are essentially like single board computers. They're definitely mini computers. And I think with stuff like Stadia, xCloud, um, and Steam has a type of streaming play too. I do think that this might be the year where the Chrome box starts to sell like hotcakes and actually starts to make a dent in devices. Um, I'm pretty sure that we nerds are going to be happier by the end of 2020 when it comes to single board computers. Prices are going to keep coming down as long as people like Elon Musk are doing what he's doing, as long as we have innovators out there pushing things, as long as we have companies like Pine 64, Raspberry Pi, o-droid, Ameridroid, Orange Pi, Friendly Intellect, all of these computers out there, people doing what they do, we consumers are going to keep seeing a massive reduction in price. But we're also going to see an increase in quality and specs. By the end of 2020, we're going to probably have mini computers with 16 gigs of RAM on them. Hopefully, a lot of them are going to have NVMe drives, um, USB 3.2 drives. I really hope. I don't care about SATA. I don't care about eSATA. I don't care about PCI. Um, I don't care about mini anything. I want full size ports. I'm a man. I want full size ports of everything, whether it's HDMI, DVI, Ethernet, USB. I want full size ports. I would like there to be more modular mini computers, a mini computer form factor where I can buy a board and then I still can add on something to it of functionalness. I don't know what that would look like, what it would be. I would like that to come out by the end of 2020, but I'm not holding my breath for that one. Um, and I do think now in the last also 6 months, 3 to 6 months, we've seen a explosion in emulation machines being sold on Wish, on Amazon, on Walmart websites, where in previous years they would have been classified clearly illegal and taken off the market. But right now on Walmart.com and Amazon, you can buy basically a large joystick box with two joysticks on it, 12 buttons on it, where there's six buttons, no, it's more than that. It's six buttons, player one, player two, uh, like start, select, next, it's like 15, 16 buttons for like $400. And it literally comes with like 1,000 games that are actual arcade games, actual Nintendo games, actual Sega Genesis games, and you can buy them. I think by the end of 2020, that kind of hardware especially is going to be unbelievably polished and pristine, where we are going to be able, as older nerds, be able to more easily relive memories from our youth and more accurately have those games back in our life with controls that are at least similar to what we used to play with, like actual joysticks and actual buttons, and not some, $6 gamepad that really doesn't feel like anything that we had as a kid. So I think, we're going to have a lot of advancements. I really hope we actually have a true more than one true Linux tablet in 2020, because I think if the tablet is going to live, it's going to take something like Linux to be able to make it happen for at least us. Um, I want more accessories, whether they're uh, standalone smart devices that we actually own the privacy controls, whether it be more form factors for like home theater PCs. I don't want to see like the one at CES, the microwave oven where the door is a screen with Android running on it. I don't When I say appliance, I don't mean that. That to me is a complete controversy. It's just utterly bad. I don't want to stare at my microwave for 2 minutes while something cooks. Um, but I really do want to see those kind of small form factor devices, like HTPCs, like portable handheld gaming units, really be successful. And the other two that o-droid came out with, I forgot. One was the o-droid Go, which is very similar form factor to the old Game Boy. It was like $35. It was a steal, and you literally just you put it together yourself. A kid can put it together. You burn their operating system. You upload your own um, NES or Game Boy games, because it only had joystick, I want to say 4 buttons and then control buttons, so you couldn't emulate Super Nintendo or higher. But for 35 bucks, you could emulate all that. O-droid did just announce that they are going to be releasing, I believe it was this month, a one that's more like a Game Boy Advanced widescreen handheld version with shoulder buttons and buttons, so you can emulate up to Super Nintendo. The emulation scene for classic gaming is going to become extremely tight and extremely good in 2020. And if you want to stay up on emulation and gaming and hardware, there's a podcast out there, RGB is the name of it. I'll say, is by far one of the smartest, most knowledgeable, most bluntfully honest about things. AKA he quite often makes people mad. But you'll have that. Um, yeah, Retro RGB is the name of the podcast. He will tell you more about games than I ever can. I don't really expect more out of 2020 than that. I don't think there's going to be any crazy changes in ARM processors. I think they're going to keep getting smaller, keep getting less heat, and kept getting just better for all of us. I do think the girth between things like Qualcomm's and Snapdragons and those kinds of ARM processors and the low end processors are going to get worse. But I also think companies like MediaTek doing the low mid range are going to just keep getting silly better to where we're going to be able to pay a fair price and get what is going to be considered close to a premier experience compared to $2,000 phones or $3,000 ARM laptops or whatever. I think we're going to be able to get close to it with spending a fraction of the money with just a little bit of knowledge of what to buy and looking at the good processors that are up and coming like MediaTek. Um, I don't think we have any actual new emails, except I'll say thank you to John Bertram, who edited their pledge. I think they're a brand new Patreon too. Um, Thank you guys for all the support. Thank you guys for all the downloads. I will say I'm going to ask people just once in a while, email people that you like on shows. And I will encourage people like right now, don't hesitate. Send Rich an email, ask him if he's feeling better. Hopefully by the time you listen to this and he gets the email, he is feeling better. And don't forget, Flying Rich is his handle, and ask the cable guy, Brian. I really hope everything's going good with Brian. Don't hesitate to give him an email too. Make sure everything's going okay. I see him maybe once every 2 or 3 weeks. Um, in our little chat program, and I get the impression he's busy, stressed, but I'm afraid to ask him if he's busy, stressed, because that just might make him more stressed. But again, do not hesitate if you want to catch this show live. You can either follow us on Twitter, follow us on Patreon, follow us on Discord, link in the chat, or you can join us in the Mattermost server. We try to stream live Wednesday nights, 9 p.m. It's hit or miss whether or not we're going to be able to make it. We will have Rich back, I know, that pretty soon once he gets over his slight food poisoning. And our email address is minipc@pods.com. Again, it's in the notes. That's why we have the notes. I'm saying this because pretty soon I'm going to stop saying this because it's in the notes. And I hate shows that keep saying this. You could also send us a voicemail, 7076 Podnut. I want to thank everyone for downloading. Thank everyone for subscribing. Thank everyone for their support. Do not forget, Mini PC, big talk, little machines. You can have fun too. Take it easy, everybody. Okay, stop that. Stop that. I'll say I had pneumonia Thanksgiving, a couple of days before Thanksgiving. It's approaching 6 weeks later. I still got pneumonia. I mean, I still got a cough. I still got stuff coming up. I got to stop that recording too. I see. This is really confusing. I see the thing moving, but the stop button's not enabled in Audacity. The play button's enabled. I'm so confused. Wow, that's not confusing. Mine, not blown, mine hurts. Okay. Let me come in here, select the beginning, de-amplify. Actually, you want to guys want to see this? See this? Let me share screen, full screen. Yeah, I just select the beginning, amplify, -4.4. I have no idea why I picked that number, but I like that number, and I just keep it in Control R until all of that audio in the beginning is gone. And this is acting weird. I don't know what is going on with this Audacity. Let me take a look at this. Control E does the quick zoom in. That looks good. Okay, that's where the end. I'm gonna again Control R. Yeah, see, I hit Control R again. It doesn't work out. I select it again. I guess my Audacity got updated and I didn't know it. I'll say that's the one thing. If I were to lock one application to never update again on my computer, it'll be Audacity. Because A, there ain't never going to be an active exploit for Audacity. Okay, you can take that one to the bank. And B, once it starts to run good, I just want to lock it. I want to freeze it because I've had so many years where Audacity just ran like crap. See, that's why I do -4.4. I don't want to get rid of it, but I want to take peaks that were like that and I want to minimize them. So Control A, Control E to go back to looking at everything. Control E to zoom into that. See, that's definitely a lip smack or something. Control R, Control R, Control R, Control R. I don't know why I got to do that now. Okay, Control A, Control A, Control E. I don't like the looks of that. Control E. That's a couple of them too. Okay, Control E, Control R, Control A, Control E, Control E. It's a whole bunch of these. Okay, so we're gonna go like this. Say Control E, Control R, Control R, Control R, Control A, Control E. Yeah, see, it looks better. Okay, I think that's enough. Now I do the generalized compression. I actually compress more than once. Actually, I'm not going to compress here. I'm wrong. Okay. We're going to file, save project as, which I should have did first, but I'm an idiot. That's how you kill things when you don't do that. So we're going to say this is mini 101, which I hope I got the right show number. If I don't, that's bad. File, export as OGG, quality of 8. Bang, bang, bang. Okay. Exporting. Good to see you, Red. Hope you had a good New Year, man. The 3-week-old salsa. That was not refrigerated. You have a death wish, Rich. I went through that about 3 years ago. Not fun since infection. 3 months fine. Got better. Yeah. Well, there's a reason why pneumonia literally kills a lot of people. I want to say there's an outbreak in China. I want to say 70 people in one city died from pneumonia. You can't play around with pneumonia, man. Pneumonia is killer. Okay. I did just export. I did just save. It's like parts of my keyboard ain't working. I don't know why that is. So we're going to go File, Exit. Okay. Now we do the stop sharing the screen. Come back here. Do the video because it looks bad when I do that. So Control Video. Put my hand in front of the screen. Make it talk to the hand. Do my command. Do my magic command. It fixes my video. It locks the white balance. Load up my virtual box, Control W, get this thing published. The good thing about this kind of show, no notes. Just do it. And Rich, if next week when you come on, you want to talk about your personal 2019 in review and or what you foresee 2020 being, you can. I mean, hell, I don't care if you want to talk about it for the next two shows because there is more than enough to talk about. That's the thing. When it came to the news, I tried to do a little bit of searching. There was too much that happened. Um, I would have been sitting there for an hour just going over the news that happened. I don't got we don't have time for that. Anybody got time for that? Okay, now let me come back in here. Say share the screen again. And yeah, here's the command I run when I do the let me do this. No. Okay. Let me do this. There you go. That's the command I run when I fix my screen up. UVCDYN control. UVC dynamic control is what I think. UVC is like a camera port. It's like saying dev or um um oh man, what's the other word? Like SBA. That's a camera, DYN dynamic, CTR control. V, I believe, is for video. I can't remember what the D is for. Then I say the device is named video 0. Sometimes I got to change it to video 1 because the laptop has a built-in camera too. This is a external camera. And then it's set white balance temperature, comma, auto. 0 means lock, 1 means dynamic. So every time I initiate my camera the first time, it always goes back to 1, which is dynamic. And then I either put my hand in front of the camera or a white sheet in front of the camera, hold it there, let the white balance correct itself. Then I run the command to lock it in place, and then we're good to go. So now let me put that back into normal mode because I'm going to need it again. Let's go to the VM. You're already there. Come here to the output. This is the last show I produce, which I normally get rid of ahead of time, which I forgot to. Got to type right. Helps my type right. Delete, paste. I can't even remember how long the show was. That shows you how sharp I am. Yeah, this is on the i7 rig doing this post-production work. Where on my old desktop, which was like a 3 or 4-year-old i5, maybe 6-year-old i5, just opening the file would take sometimes 2.5, 3 minutes. 45 minutes. Wow, okay, it was a lot longer than I thought. Now I'm doing the compression because I have these plugins, these pro quote unquote pro grade tools. They give the input output quality of pro grade tools, but they have the visual appeal of something from 1995. I know that. VST plugins, that's what it's called. The real pros use VST plugins that are all pretty and graphical that look like real knobs and stuff. Not me. My VST plugins are supposedly some of the best performance wise for quality, but man, they look horrible because I didn't pay money for them. I didn't pay money for them. Why would I pay money for them? Yeah. And I was tempted to talk about resolutions on the stream and just say, I believe I said last year, not on this show, but I believe I said last year, my resolution is no more resolutions. If I want to do something, I just do it. Don't need a damn resolution to do nothing. Okay. Save the output. And we're just over a third of the way done. Yeah, this with my old computer setup would have again taken 3 to 4 minutes. That's why I didn't like doing 2-hour shows back on the old setup because this would take sometimes 7 to 10 minutes just to export the file. And this is just one step among many. Among many. I would like to see about 500 gigs of space on a tablet so you don't have to. Well, don't you? Well, uh, tablets will, we're not going to have tablets with large drives. Tablets are dead. Nobody's buying them. You know what I mean? Phones are now, you're getting phones with 256 gigs of RAMs and stuff on them because so many people are buying them that prices come down. Nobody's buying tablets. So no prices are going to come down on tablets. No specs are going to shoot up on tablets. It's really difficult to get a tablet, non-Apple tablet, that has a similar processing power to a mid to high end phone. A huge amount of the tablets out there uh, that are not Windows based or iPhone tablets, their specs are just complete garbage. They are just complete garbage, and they're overpriced. Did I just export that? Yes, I did. Okay, now my keyboard's working. Okay, so now we come over here. We load the queue of the tractor, which I like a lot. Again, this is pro gradish kind of tool, but kind of isn't. Here's how you know it isn't a pro grade tool. Okay, let me first do this. I got to mark this. Control and zoom in, mouse wheel in to mark the beginning of that. Delete, delete. Let me add this file really quick. Then I'll show you why this is not a true pro grade tool. Because pro grade tools should not have this button called panic. Oh, it ain't working. It's supposed to launch a spreadsheet. So it looks like you're doing work. But my panic button ain't working, which I guess is okay because I don't panic. I don't care. At work, I like dare people to tell me, what I can and can't, should and shouldn't do. Because 23, I want to say 20. I always want to say 24 years, but I think I've been there 23 years. Oh, which means I have 7 more years to go, and then I can retire. And I love the fact that I can walk into any team, any unit, on any floor. And I don't want to say I can do their job because that's boisterous. That's just bad. But I can be at least kind of competent in most of those jobs. Of course, not stuff like project management. I don't think I can be. It takes a certain kind of personality to be able to have the patience to work with people, gain their trust, and get stuff done. That's not super easy. Which ad am I playing? I can't even remember. I don't think I've changed this ad for like 6 months. Put up so I can hear it. Oh, crikey. He shouldn't be here. Yeah, he shouldn't be here. We shouldn't have Eric promoting the mini PC show on the mini PC show. I mean, that's just crazy. So we mark the beginning again. Mark the beginning again. Okay. Delete that. Come here. Cut that. Add file. Clips. Mini. We're going to do a MRP. I hope it fits. His ads are always a little bit longer. Oh, good. Now we check the volume. It's probably going to be loud. No. Yeah, maybe just a touch. I'll tell you, Matt has some really good audio, but it makes sense. He's I don't want to say audiophile, but he's a musician. Musicians just seem to care about that stuff longer. Okay, that looks good. That looks good. Track, export track. Now this on 2-hour shows would take forever. This would take forever, but this one has no progress meter, has no time meter. So, I don't want to say it's scary, but it's not cool. It's not cool. So now I'm going to push up, put my hand in front of the camera, click stop sharing, and then get the white balance right. Should already looks right. And then hit enter. And then the white balance should, stay put. Good. That does make it easy. Okay. So now, I missed, okay, Swift. Okay, good. Okay, so now we move that over here. Let me launch up in preparation for the file to be landing on my actual desktop out of the VM. Load up my Nautilus. I like to make sure my files have the correct permissions. FileZilla for the upload process. Get that launched as well. Might as well. Come back to my main browser. Log in to the back end of Podnutz to get the posting started. Don't really need the notes. Let me see how my no, it's still exporting the audio. Yep. Now that and the plugin finally got fixed, which literally cuts this time in half. I used to have to I always clone my postings just so there's less chance of errors. But before I had to go in, change a setting, clone a posting, go back in, edit it, and then add a default artwork image, or else it didn't work right. Okay. That so this wasn't show 101. This was show 102. Am I crazy or stupid? I'm stupid. That was 102. Dang it. Okay, so for right now, we're going to come into here. We're going to edit YouTube to say 102 so I don't make this mistake again. Let's come over here to the Patreon. I'm going to edit this posting. So I guess I don't know. I guess I didn't do it right last time. No, that does say 102. I did it right in Patreon. I'm an idiot. Okay. 102. And it's going to say solo year in review and 2020 should do a pun with sight. Sing 20 our view of 2020 our oh man. Huh. Looking at 2020. That's good enough. I don't know. I can't think of a good pun. I'm not a really good punster unless my kid's around because I love seeing their face when I say a stupid pun. Oh God, they get so upset. They get so upset. Okay, so yeah, you can just come here, bang, paste, right? Okay, so save. Now it might be done now. So now let's come here and say I found out that Control K in WordPress changes text to a hyperlink. So I don't got to use the mouse. I hate having to stop what I'm doing, lift up my finger, touch the mouse just to get a toolbar button pressed. I like when I can do everything on a keyboard. And I will say modern day IDEs, development environments like Visual Studio, is one of them. I'll say. Can never remember the Java one, even though I use it at work sometimes. Their power in the keyboard is remarkable. Like how little you actually have to touch a mouse. It's shocking. I'll say. Okay, got all the links done. Change the file name to 102. Come over here. That looks good. Come back. We're done. Okay, so now let's come back here and say, run one more command. It should be easy to do, which is just, okay, that's done. So we can quit out of that, come over here, come to the outcoming folder. There's my one file. Open it up. It looks fine. I'm not going to say it looks great, but it looks fine. Oh, that ending looks hard. Okay. Control A, truncate silence. In Audacity, truncate silence seems to work best on WAV files. Any other file type, whether it be MP3, OGG, AAC, anything, I've seen weird things happen. When I do it in Wave, I've never had an issue. I've never once had an issue in Wave. And this is after doing it, sometimes 5 times a week for 8+ years. I love how fast that goes. And I do file, export, change the folder, outgoing, change the file type again to Wave. Technically, they finally did fix it here in Audacity like 4 or 5 years ago now, to where if I did do the export in MP3, there is a way to do it in genuine mono mode. A 2020 look at 2020 tech. Yeah, that's good, but I don't know if I want to make it that obvious. You know what I mean? I don't want to say subtle puns, but I like when you have to pay attention to catch the pun. Okay, I don't need to save. I just did the export. Yep, there it is. So we delete that one. And here's, and consistency. It's what I do. Consistency. I always transcode my files using the lame encoder, the exact same lame encoder now for 8 years, 7 years. Lame -MM, which means mono, true mono mode. Some mono modes, what they do is they put the same track in both left and right speakers, so it's still twice as big. True mono mode makes the file typically half as small as other podcasts, which is another huge advantage to third world and other people and bandwidth impaired people. Dash B 96, bit rate of 96, double dash resample 44.1, 44 100's the normal sampling rate ever since I think CDs. And then just out the name of the file, wave to wave.mp3d. Well, that's a typo, but it's easy enough to fix. Oh, not like that. We just could not display. I didn't ask you to display. I'm asking you to delete. Okay, so now we just come here, copy it over there. Yep. Nope. Wrong folder. Dummy. Audio, mini. Okay, so now I typically delete that. Shut down. Done with the VM. Okay, so now. Up arrow, get ready to hit enter. And bang. Okay, now I can actually close that window down because now the screens have like password and stuff on there. So, don't want to show that on YouTube, even though, 3 people thumbs up this video. That's like the all-time high. Okay. Save that. Now, what I need to do is open up the Easy Tag. I love Easy Tag. And Easy Tag, I will say this, is available for dedicated desktop environments like Qt or GNOME, but it also has Windows alternatives that is literally difficult to tell the difference when you load them up. They I don't want to say look that good. They look that similar to what you experience on the Linux world, which I don't think is popular, is what I'll say. Most of the time, when you load them up and, oh man, I didn't do my thing right. Okay. Video. Okay, let's come over here so I can actually see it. Okay, that was right. Okay. Oh, I think I hit enter on the wrong screen, possibly. That's my excuse. That's what I'm sticking with. Okay. Artist. Okay, let's Podnutz. Track 102. Genre podcast. Comment 0. Composer. Okay. Images. Album art. I like the album art. I think the guy did a really good job. Mini PC 3000. Save. Come to the FileZilla. do the connect, go to public HTML, which everyone already knows, no secret there, because that's the way most hosting providers do it, not all. Come to the mini 10. Oh, I gotta refresh. 102, files uploading, 50%. Okay, come over here, 102, 102, bang, bang. 102, I'm going to do this. No. Oh, man, I should change that. Okay, so I'm going to do like this and say Patreon, put live video and chat. I'm going to link to, let me go like this. Studio.podnutz, not Podnutz, not YouTube. I get my handy dandy favorite mug. Thank you, Joe Heck. Click video, click video. Click that. Click my name. Yes. Now click videos. But dang, that was easy enough. Now let's fix the link to say that. And now we're going to fix it every place else too. So we're going to have separate links for live video and chat, and separate links for Patreon, and separate link for Discord. Even though there's so much to not like about Discord, I'll say this: the damn thing works really well. Okay, so let me come in here, edit the YouTube link, the YouTube description. That's done. Let me come back here. Let me edit. Come on. Come on, dummy. Enter. I'm going to fix it in Patreon too, because I typically copy from Patreon to Patreon. I typically copy from YouTube to YouTube, and I typically copy from WordPress to WordPress. So when I do a mass change like this, I got to fix it everywhere, which isn't the end of the world. It really is. Okay. Save 102, 102, 102, MP3. Bang, 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 bang. Okay. Publish. Let me make sure. Sometimes I'm terrified I'm overwriting a previous show. Let me do this. Mini PC filter. So the last one should have been 101. I think I'm overwriting this. I swear I'm overwriting this. So we're going to say copy to a new draft. Leave. Because I think I was messing it up. I'm pretty sure I was messing it up. Okay. So now what happened? I'm 90% sure I almost wiped out show 101. Okay, now there's two of them. That's right. I'm going to click edit on this one because I don't care. Okay, now this one is proper edit 102. 102. Change the hard URL because I don't remember doing that. And that's what I typically have to do. I have to change the permalink. I don't remember doing that. Control C, Control V. Oh, got to fix all the URLs, or got to fix all the links now, which used to be so much more painful, but now it's just Control K, Control K, Control K, and then Enter. Control K, Enter. Oh, nah. I don't have time. I wanted to do like a subdomain install WordPress Make sure, and if I do that, I know it's the same version, blah, 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 of the full-blown website. And I want to look at turning on squirrel login. Okay, so now that's done, that's done, that's done. File name 102. Let me make sure 102 is published. It is. Now the button says publish before the button said update. That's why I know I was going to screw that up. Okay, says it's published. Come back here. Mini PC. 98, 99, 100. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so now close, log out of that, verify that, close that, close that. Looks good. Close that. Okay, I'm going to kill the stream now, guys. Thank you guys for coming out. Thank you guys for the support. Yeah, tomorrow I got training first thing in the morning. I got to be up bright and early. I'll talk to you guys later. Take it easy.